So we're done adding the dimensions. We're done editing the annotations on all of our drawings, the floor plans, the elevations, the sections. Once you have all this done, then we're ready to go ahead and place this on sheets, on the actual drawing sheets. So what I'm going to do is in the project browser, scroll down until we see sheets. Okay. Now, because we're using the residential template, there are already sheets created for us. Okay. And they're already using the standard numbering system. We could always right click and rename them if we'd like to. But I'm just going to go ahead and, nope, that's not what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and just double click on first floor plan under sheets. And it sets me up, or I should say the title block is already set in place for me. So it's really going to be as simple as just dragging and dropping the drawing onto the sheet. Now, before we do that, though, I'm going to want to go ahead and make some changes here. So right here, I already have the drawing title. I could always double click and, add any or make any changes that I need to on this drawing set. So you could put the date, you could say drawn by, and this is where you're going to want to put your name. And then checked by, I'll just put my initials. Checked by means someone who's kind of your supervisor, who's the person checking these drawings. Okay. What's interesting is let's go ahead and I'm just going to add a project number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. When I go to the second floor plan, you'll notice that all of my drawings, all of the title blocks have been changed. So making the change to one title block will automatically change all of the title blocks in your sheets. So you really only have to deal with this once. So that's kind of nice. Okay. So then what I'm going to do, oh, the other thing too is you'll notice that unscale, right? It doesn't give me the option to select the scale. And that's because there's certain things that are going to be auto-generated once we place drawings into the title block or onto our sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and place my first floor plan inside here. So I'm going to scroll up and I have to find the floor plan. So there it is. I'm just going to single click, so just have it highlighted, and then I'll just click and drag, and then I let go of the cursor. Okay. Then you'll see the crop region, and at the bottom you'll see the drawing title. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of center it, and then click to place it. Okay. And there's my floor plan. Now, when we come down to the scale, you'll notice that it automatically generated the scale. Now, if we wanted to change the scale, we can go to our first floor and come down here and say, okay, we're going to change this from 1/4 inch to say 1/8 inch. And there you go, right? And so then we're going to go to our floor plan. That's what our floor plan would look like at an 1/8 inch scale. Now, by default, what you may have noticed is our dimensions got a bit odd. I should have mentioned this before. When adding, before we add dimensions, we want to make sure that the drawing is to the correct scale that we want to print it onto, right? So if we're going to draw, if we want this floor plan to come out at a 1/4 inch scale or at an 1/8 inch scale, that's when you want to go ahead and make that change, okay? Because what you'll notice is that my dimensions are a bit off now. They're kind of overlapping. They're kind of jumbled up one on top of another. And that's because the drawing got smaller, but the text didn't. The text, all of the text in our drawings are automatically set up to print at I believe at a 1/8 inch height. So let's go ahead and select one. We'll go into edit type. And this is where we could see all of the text settings. So it's set, so text size 330 seconds. so that no matter what size scale, or no matter what scale the drawing is, the text is always going to be 1/32 inch, 1/32 of an inch high. No, sorry, 3/32, 3/32 inch high. So that's why the drawing got smaller, but the text height stayed the same. And because the text height stayed the same, it's starting to kind of overlap one another, right? So that's why it's better to just set the scale up before you start adding the dimensions. I'm going to go ahead and change the scale back to 1/4 inch. And then we'll go back to our first floor plan, okay? Now in theory, the only thing we really need to do at this point is just make sure everything, the entire drawing is within our title block, and it's really within this inside line. Okay, this is our print region. Okay, so you want to make sure that the drawing is within from that line to that line. If there's elements to your drawing that are sticking out past this, then you're going to want to go back to the floor plan and bring it all in. So that means your dimensions are going to have to get closer in together. Your annotations, your elevation, your section markers are probably going to have to come in together. Now we can technically double click inside, and that's going to take us to our actual floor plan. If you have to make just some minor changes, so if maybe I just have to select this and I need to move this a little bit, I can go ahead and do that. Bring that. I can go ahead and make these kind of small changes while I'm in my drawing sheets, okay? But I do not recommend you trying to model or make any big changes at this point, while you're in the drawing sheets. You're better off just double clicking out and going to the actual floor plan to make those big changes, okay? But we can always, just remember, you could always double click inside the crop region, and then that's where we could go ahead and make these kind of smaller changes just to make sure that it actually fits inside our drawing sheet, okay? So assuming you're able to get the entire drawing along with all of the annotations inside the drawing page, then the next thing is just going to be to adjust our drawing title. Now it's interesting, and I don't know why this happens, but if I was to click on the drawing title and let's say I want to move it, right? Because I said that everything has to be within these lines. If I click on it and I move it, oh, they changed this. Okay, never mind, I take that back. I can go ahead and just select it and move it. Oh, that wasn't the issue. So I can move it to where I want to, but you'll notice that the line goes all the way across. And when I select it, typically when we select objects, we have these grip points, right, that we could adjust and move. This time they don't show up. I don't understand why, but in order to bring that up, we actually have to click, just a single click on the actual drawing, not on the drawing title. And that's going to bring the grip points. So I can click and drag and now move that in place. Okay, and I could put this right at the bottom here. Drawing titles typically are always on the bottom right corner of your drawings. So there we have it. We have our floor plan. It fits inside of our page. We adjusted the drawing title, and we're good to move on to the next sheet. So we would go into the second floor plan, and we would end up doing the same exact thing. I'll move a bit faster here. Second floor, click, drag, and place. Okay, everything looks good. I'll go ahead and select the drawing title, move it over here. I'll click on the drawing itself so that I can select the grip points here and bring that in. And there we go. Okay. Now, when it comes to elevations, we would come down. Let me go ahead and minimize these here to our elevation sheet. And again, it's going to be the same process. We'll go to elevation. I'm going to go to east. I'll go ahead and place this right there, just like that. Okay. And it's pretty much the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and just move this over here. And again, we typically want the drawing titles on the bottom right. Now, typically as well, this really should be down here. When we do drawings, when we do elevations, we typically follow the standard north, east, south, west, and we try to put that in order. So north really should be up here at the top. Oh, there's something going on there, so I would have to fix that. Let's go ahead and bring this in. And I'll go ahead and do that. Now, this is going to be a situation where I would probably go to my north elevation so I could change this, but let me go ahead and just double click. Let's see what's going on over here. If I could move this over right there. Okay. Making sure I'm only selecting making sure that my points are on set to 2D, right? If you missed that, just go to the previous lecture tutorial and I cover how to change these. I think that's fine. So we'll go ahead and leave it at that. Okay. And this time I'll go ahead and move this way. Probably want to center this just like that. All right. So I have my north and my east elevation on page A5. I'm going to go back to my floor plan because I want to show you something. Up until now, our section markers and our elevation markers are empty, right? They just have these little dashed lines. It's not until we actually place these elevations onto a sheet that it'll generate the numbers inside. So now I know that I can go to sheet A5 and it is the elevation number 2 on that sheet, and that's going to be my north elevation. If I come down here, here's my east. A5, sheet drawing number 1. So if I go to sheet A5, that is my elevation, okay? And drawing number 1 is right down there. So we didn't have to generate any of this. We didn't have to add any of that information onto the floor plan. Once we place the elevation onto the sheet, it'll generate the numbers for us. That's going to be true for our building sections as well. So let's go to our section. Go ahead and add section 2. Place that in there. Section 3. Place that just right there. At this point, you know that we have to adjust this. But what I really care about is let's look at the section marker there. So there it says A7, drawing number 2, and that's referring to this section. If we go to, say, one of our elevations, you'll notice that it now has the information in our section marker, the same with our floor plans. Right now it's in there. So we do not have to add this. Once we place that drawing onto a sheet, it'll automatically add that. Okay. Let me check if I'm missing anything. I think that's all I got. You're gonna want to go ahead and add all of the drawings onto the respective sheets, right? So first floor, second floor, reflective ceiling plans, sections, elevations, and you're going to want to follow the same steps. You want to make sure that they all fit inside the lines and make sure that it's presentable and it's clear. Okay. And that's it. You're just going to want to set up all your sheets. And then next, we'll go ahead and cover printing.